Does anybody else remember that time that Portland police went through a woman's trash and stole one of her used tampons so that way they could drug test it without her knowledge or consent? I do. Talk about a gross violation. This is one of the few tales from Portland PD that actually has a pretty satisfying ending. Is that the same Portland PD who used Proud Boy memes in their training materials just this year? Why yes, yes it is. Clearly, they're a beacon of tolerance. And I also want to preface that stories like this, highlighting police corruption, almost never see the light of day, even with body cams. But thanks to Williamette Week reporters Chris Lydgate and Nick Budnick, I get to share this with you today. But before I get into how these police just absolutely raided these trash cans, let me tell you about a different kind of raid. Oh my gosh, no way, is that Raid Shadow Legends is sponsoring this video. Raid Shadow Legends, the most well-known game on the whole internet. I was searching for raid games and I found this game, and it raids and it has elves? Yeah, the elves in Raid are pretty much my favorites. I mean, they only formed civilization like thousands of years ago, surviving orc rampages and the collapse of the Lizardmen Empire. Yeah, pretty basic stuff. And this month, Raid's got a non-stop schedule of special events and activities, including Forge Pass Season 3 with some amazing rewards, including a limited edition artifact set. If that's not enough, Raid's bringing out some new champions, along with some awesome-looking champion skins for the incredible Madame Ceres. And finally, Death Knight is becoming a legendary champion! New players! Use my link or scan the QR code and get a free starter pack worth almost $30! This cool in-game loot! And also a free champion, Aina. Play on mobile or PC today. Raid Shadow Legends. You know 'em! And with that, let me tell you how all this rubbish went down. While today's particular story is about 20 years old, Portland police had been notoriously stealing people's trash to look for evidence without a warrant since the 1970s. This tactic is known as garbage pulling. Fourth Amendment, I don't even know her. Hey, we're stealing used tampons over here. Wait, no, these cops are from the Pacific Northwest. We get our tampons locally sourced, so that way they're as fresh as possible. You can really tell the difference when it's not local. Or something like that. Okay, we're done with the gross violations. But the district attorney's office of Multnomah County sure wasn't. They really claim that once a person puts their trash on the curb for collection, that it's public property and up for grabs. Unless you're one of the many unhoused people in Portland trying to look for food without bothering anyone, then you're not entitled to public anything. In fact, to this day, Portland police will protect dumpsters from divers like it's some sort of Proud Boys rally. What can I say? Portland police sure loves protecting trash. So in March of 2002, Officer Gina Hosley learned just how thin that blue line really is when fellow officers snatched her trash off the curb. See, Gina was a police officer for about 13 years. She supposedly had an interesting dating history, usually going after the bad boys, and would often go undercover as a prostitute as well. Now, Gina had some of her own issues within her police bureau and supposedly was getting ready to blow the whistle on some corruption within. But before any of that could happen, Gina was assaulted by an ex-boyfriend, and she went to the police. But because police officers found meth inside the ex-boyfriend's pocket, they expanded their investigation to include Gina as well. And now this is where things start to get stinky. When you think of something going through your trash, you probably think of cute little critters, grubby little hands just looking for a tasty little morsel. Not these oinkers. Oh no. These guys were looking for evidence to use against their fellow officer, Gina. Specifically, her used tampon, which they acquired and drug tested without her consent, and also tested for semen for some reason. Again, with the gross violations, which was perfectly okay to then prosecutor Mark McDonald. He really was like, I don't see your name on it, and I don't see a sign that says I can't have it, so it's pretty much up for grabs. I bet this motherfucker was the worst person to share an office refrigerator with. Police Chief Mark KROEKER was super fine with it because, of course he is. He was just like, yeah, most judges have the opinion that once the trash is on the curb, it's up for grabs, so it's okay. Judge Moorer, however, was not one of those judges. Judge Moorer insisted that police must have a search warrant before they start swiping people's trash. Personal and business correspondence, photographs, personal financial information, political mail, items related to health concerns, and sexual practices are all routinely found in garbage receptacles, Moorer wrote. Do you think Portland police gave a crap? Nope. Because other judges were fine with it. It's almost as if police and judges often work in conjunction with each other. And then the reporters came in. And this is where the story really takes off if tampon stealing wasn't enough. The Willamette Week reporters decided to swipe the trash of District Attorney Mike Schrunk, Police Chief Mark Kroeker, and Mayor Vera KATZ, and post all about it in the paper. Surely they wouldn't mind. It's public property after all. It's up for grabs, right? First up, Chief Kroeker. In Chief Kroeker's trash, reporters found a receipt with his credit card number, a summary of his wife's investments, an email prepping the mayor about how they wanted to apply to be the chief of police in Los Angeles, a cigar stub, a napkin with something cringy scribbled on it that even the reporters didn't want to write it down again, and a newsletter from a conservative organization. And just hours after being confronted by his own trash, Chief Kroeker released a statement that said, "Hey, don't go through my trash." But I thought it was public property, right? Next up, the mayor. Ooh, the mayor did not like her trash getting rifled through one little bit. Though to be fair, reporters really only looked through her recycle bin because technically her trash cans were still like along the side of her house and only the recycle bin was out on the street. So that was kind of all they had access to. Honestly, in her recycle bin, they really just found newspapers, stuff like that. I mean, they found like a TV guide with her favorite shows circled in red. Big fan of the West Wing, apparently. But regardless, she was furious, and she told the Willamette reporters that their actions were potentially illegal and absolutely unscrupulous and reprehensible, and that she would consider all of her legal options in response to their actions. But I thought it was public property. Now, DA Mike Schrunk didn't take it all that seriously. I mean, his trash was just mostly kitchen scraps, nothing too exciting, but he wasn't that big of a fan either. He did get bothered when reporters pointed out that he threw away some marine memorabilia, and he was like, "Oh, don't publish that, they'll shoot me." But I mean, that's not like the worst thing in the world. But I thought it was public property. Now here's the thing. Nothing insanely wild was pulled while racking this muck. And yet, these clean as a whistle officials were sweating. How are the rest of us citizens who have little to no power supposed to feel about this? And it's crazy how the Willamette Week reporters correctly foresaw what was in store for the rest of the country. They foresaw the combo of Reaganism and McCarthyism, that communists weren't the boogeyman anymore, but potential terrorists. You'll be happy to know that it only took about 20 years or so for the Oregon Supreme Court to finally decide that, yeah, this is a huge invasion of privacy. Police, don't do that. Don't steal people's trash without a warrant. They really thought that if they just ask a sanitation worker to hold on to specific bags of trash till later, then technically that would be okay, right? Wrong. So judges made sure to include language that protected against that too. Isn't that crazy? Police have been doing this for decades, since the 70s, and just within recent years are they finally being told, hey, this is an invasion of privacy. Don't do that. They knew they had to play dirty in order to get a search warrant for Gina. They had to go through her trash, steal her tampon, drug test her tampon, show those results to a judge, and then get a search warrant because they weren't able to get one through normal channels. So what do you think? Do you think rulings like this will actually protect against corruption within police, or do you think that they're just gonna hide their tracks a little bit better? I also want to take a quick moment to outline the differences between garbage pulling and dumpster diving. One is a violation of individual rights by an authoritative power, and the other is a means of trying to survive in a country with insanely high food waste that continuously puts profits over people. Thanks, capitalism. Eva, go bye? Okay, bye.